We continue Unit 15, Law of Exponents, with rational exponents. Underneath the radical symbol, we have the x, raised to an exponent a. A is the power. The index, as we learned from an earlier lesson, the b, is also called the root. To write the radical expression as a rational exponent, we simply take the base and we raise it to the power divided by the root. To remember this, think the people with the most power are on top, or you have the roots of the tree or at the bottom of the tree. Just as negative exponents do not represent negative values, fractional exponents do not represent fractional values. Rewrite using rational exponents. Example 1, the square root of 8. The root is understood to be a 2. This is not written, it is understood. The power in this example is understood to be a 1. To rewrite it where it looks like this general form, the base would be 8, the power would be 1, and the root would be 2. Example 2. The base 5 remains the same. The power is 8 divided by the root, which is 3. Example 3. The base is 3, the power is 3, and the root is 4. Rewrite using radicals. Write the radical symbol. The power is 1, the root is 5. Now we do not normally write the 1, it is understood. So the answer is the 5th root of 4. Example 5. Rewrite the base. Put the radical symbol around it. Again, the 5 is the power, the 3 is the root. You might also see this written with the little 5 on the outside of the parentheses. Example 6. Power, the 3 is the power, the 4 is the root. Rewrite the base, put the radical symbol around it, power, root. This can also be written as the 4th root of 5 raised to the 3rd power. Rewrite this exponential expression as a radical expression first. Remember, the 3 is the power, the 2 is the root. Normally we do not write the 2. From Wednesday's lesson, we know that we can simplify this to figure out what number this is equal to. And this simplifies to be 4 times 4 times 4 because there are 3 of them. This exponent means we multiply the base to itself 3 times. And if I was to simplify this, I have 1 pair of 2's, 2 pairs of 2's, and 3 pairs of 2's. There is nothing left underneath the radical. All the pairs moved out. We multiply each of these numbers to each other. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. This is an example where we would want to pull out the -1. Now, rewrite this rational expression. This is the square root of 9 to the first power raised to the -1 power. We know the square root of 9 is 3, and we know from last Wednesday's lesson that -1 we do not want. We do not want any negative exponents. So using law 7, we're going to bring the base to the bottom. The exponent becomes positive, and there's an understood 1 on top. So the answer is 1 over 3. Eight to the 2/3. Remember, we are evaluating without a calculator. Write this expression as a radical expression. The top number is the power. The bottom number is the root. The cube root of 8 squared is the same thing as the cube root of 8 times 8. We can break 8 times 8 down into its prime factors to figure out what our number is going to be. There are 3 2's, so pull out a 2. There are 3 more 2's. Pull out another 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. 32 to the -3/5 power. To begin, let's just pull out the -3. Now rewrite this expression as a radical expression. The fifth root of 32 raised to the -3 power. Rewriting 32 to prime factors gives us a 2 raised to the -3 power. Law 7 says we do not keep negative exponents, so we send the 2 to the bottom and raise it to the 3rd power. The answer is 1 over 8. Example 11. 5 to the 1/3 power times 5 to the 1/4 power. This follows Law 1. When you multiply like bases, add the exponents, and the base stays the same. I have 2 fractions I need to add together that do not have common denominators. So we need to get a common denominator. My least common denominator will be 12. 3 goes into 12. What times 3 gives me 12, and that's 4. Multiply both top and bottom by 4. And in the second fraction, what times 4 gives me 12, and that is 3. Now my denominators are the same, so I can combine my fractions to get 7/12. And this is my answer. Example 12. In this one, I could take care of the parentheses first, but I noticed that by using Law 3, if I multiply 15 to this power and this power, I will get rid of my fractions. So using Law 3, 2 and 1/5 power raised to the 15, 2 and 1/3 power raised to the 15. Now using Law 2, power raised to a power, we multiply the powers. So this becomes 1 times 15, 15 divided by 5. 15 divided by 3. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And now I'm left with one last step. When you multiply like bases, add the exponents, and the base stays the same. One last thing. 2 to the 8. That's the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2, 8 times, and 2 to the 8th power is 256. 13. 1 over 4 to the negative 3/2 power. Move negative 3/2 to the top of that fraction. Rewrite this exponential expression as a radical. The square root of 4 to the 3rd power. We need to simplify, and I would leave it, and I would not multiply 4 times 4 times 4 together. I would leave it in this form here so that I can easily simplify the 4's down the 2's. Now I'm looking for groups of 2. There's one group of 2. There's 2 groups of 2. There are 3 groups of 2. There are 3 groups of 2. 2 to the 3rd power is equal to 8. 3 to the 1/3 power divided by 3 to the 1/6 power. This will use Law 5 from Wednesday. When you divide like bases, subtract the exponents, and the base stays the same. Since 1/3 is bigger than 1/6, we are going to move 1/6 to the top and subtract. But in order to subtract, we need to get a common denominator. Now what am I going to do to this 3 to make it a 6? Well, I can multiply both top and bottom by 2. And this one's going to stay the same. So 2 minus 1 will give me 1 over 6. So my answer is 3 to the 1/6 power. 15. This is also Law 5. When we divide like bases, subtract the exponents, and the base stays the same. There is an understood 1 right here by the 2 as its exponent. 1 is bigger than 1/3, so I'm going to bring 1/3 to the top and subtract it from 1. But we can't subtract unlike fractions, so we need to get a common denominator. The least common denominator will be 3, and this is really a fraction 1 over 1. I have to multiply 3 on top and bottom in order to make this equal to 1. Minus 1/3, so 3 minus 1 is 2/3. So the answer is 2 2/3. 16. Law 3. A power raised to the power, multiply the powers. Now use Law 2. Again, power to the power, multiply the powers. Four divided by 4 is 1, so this is 5 to the 1st power, which is 5. And this is 3 to the 1st power, which is 3. And 5 times 3 is 15. This concludes the last 2 flaps of our foldable.